that we have in our toolbox to help us manage this pandemic, that we have in our toolbox to help us manage this pandemic, that we have in our toolbox to help us manage this pandemic. And that is a medication called Paxlovid, which is a combination of two drugs, nirmatrelvir and ritonavir. And it was given, one of the things that we needed to do was get a better understanding that we have in our toolbox to help us manage this pandemic. Understanding of who would best be suited for this drug. Here, this is another positive step forward in our COVID-19 journey, and the treatment is specifically for people who are at highest risk of having more severe illness and hospitalization, and it needs to be started within 5 days of symptom onset. And treatment courses of these medications. We've been aligning both the limited supply we have, about 4,000 treatment courses of these medications, with our testing strategy that we have in our toolbox to help us manage this pandemic. That we have in our toolbox to help us manage this pandemic as well. And I'm very grateful for the infectious disease teams in each of our health authorities. We have developed a hub and spoke model so that this medication can be available through our infectious disease teams. So those are the people who will now have access to this drug. The things that we are learning, though, from this medication is that these are conditional recommendations, and this is a very challenging medication combination. Every medication comes with risks and benefits, but this new medication is that these are conditional recommendations, and this is a very challenging medication combination. Every medication comes with risks and benefits, but this new antiviral combination has some very important what we call contraindications, so it can't be used in some cases, and it also has some very important drug-drug interactions. Tamiflu, for example. Medication, take some of those medications that interact with it, has some very important drug-drug interactions. So unfortunately, many of the people who would potentially benefit from this medication take some of those medications that interact with it, and it makes it very different from some of the other antivirals we have, like Tamiflu, for example. So people with we have to be mindful of people's kidney function, the immune suppressant medications they're on, anticoagulants. These are some of the very serious interactions. So our teams who are most familiar with using these antiviral drugs, particularly ritonavir, which is a protease inhibitor, it's part of a combination of drugs that we also use for treating people with HIV, they will be starting to offer Paxlovid and to people in the highest risk groups, and we'll be reaching out to them through a proactive process of monitoring our lab data that we have in our toolbox to help us manage this pandemic.